Hey, what is going on, guys? It's DK. Back at you with another video here to break down the 10-game NBA main slate on Wednesday. Before I get into the video, if you guys are new to the channel, my name's DK. I make daily videos and live stream for NBA and NFL slates on DraftKings. If you guys are unable to watch these YouTube videos, I also upload an Apple Podcast. I have a link in the description below. It's called the DK DFS Show. If you guys are interested in signing up for premium content, I offer that on Patreon.com. A couple different packages. I have an esports package and an NBA package, also linked down below. And then finally, I want to thank Underdog Fantasy for sponsoring this show. If you guys are not familiar with Underdog, or maybe this is your first time watching these videos, what do they have to offer? Well, they have daily fantasy snake drafts as well as season-long best ball. So they have best ball already, I think, for NFL and NBA. After you guys sign up and make your first deposit, you can use the code DKDFS, and they will give you a money-back guarantee up to $100. And then finally, I just want to thank you guys again for the continued support on the videos, on Twitter, on the live streams. Really greatly appreciated. If you guys do enjoy this content, if you leave a like button on the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit the notification bell so you know to upload videos live. As always, I will be doing a YouTube live stream before lock to go over everything, answer all your guys' questions, so make sure to check out the live stream. And let's aim for 200 likes on this video. But yeah, with that out of the way, let's jump into it. So before we talk about players and the prices for this 10-game slate, let's look back my lineup here from Tuesday. So Tuesday, I took a little bit of a contrarian approach, and we can go over my lineup real quick. So went with Damian Lillard, Rodney Hood, Eric Pascal, Draymond Green, Nikola Vucevic, Westbrook, Bazemore, and Kanter. So I took the complete stars and scrubs approach. So I talked about this. I kind of hinted at it in the YouTube live stream. I talked about it in depth in the Patreon live stream that optimal build was, for me, what I thought the optimal build was Westbrook, Vucevic, and either Sabonis or one of the Clipper stars. Now, I told everyone in the Patreon I was going suboptimal, right? I was trying to get a little bit contrarian, playing I thought overpriced Damian Lillard. I remember someone told me he was going to be like 30% owned in the live stream. I was like, I don't think so. Yeah, 9%. So, yeah, I took a little bit of suboptimal approach, but again, I'm willing to take risks. I'm willing to take a risk or that with Damian Lillard, even though he's a little bit overpriced in my opinion. I thought he could still get there. Finished with 49 wasn't terrible. Rodney Hood for value was alright at 22. Yeah, Pascal here's the chalk, 65% owned, just checked in, so he hasn't done much yet. Draymond Green, 10 fancy points. Vucevic went for 51. Westbrook went for 50, triple double. I played Bazemore just because he was the only min price guy I thought was viable, and then Enes Kanter had a nice game of 40 fancy points. I can get out of the way so you guys can see. But yeah, did not see Fred VanVleet hitting or shooting 90% from 30. Went for over 50 real life points, so going to be hard for me to cash without Fred VanVleet. I might honestly still have a chance if Draymond and Pascal and maybe even Bazemore can have a sneaky good game. So yeah, that's really the look back, guys, for tonight, and let's see if we can have a good night here for this Wednesday 10-game slate. All right, so let's see. How many games do we have out right now? We have 6 of the 10 games out. So Pacers and Bucks, it's a 232 over-under. The Bucks are 8.5-point favorites. Mavs, Hawks, a 224 over-under. The Mavs are 1.5-point favorites. Rockets, Thunder, 221.5 over-under. The Rockets are 6.5-point favorites. Knicks and Bulls, a 216 over-under. The Bulls are 3-point favorites. T-Wolves and Spurs, a 223 over-under. The Spurs are 8-point favorites. And Suns, Pelicans, 223 over-under. These Suns are 2-point favorites. So we'll start off with Philly and Charlotte. So Philly looks like Joel Embiid is back in full strength at 10K. He's the guy I'm looking to, and that's it in the Philadelphia side. And I think he's a good spend up if you can get to him. I played him the last time at super low ownership because he got ruled in after lock. I love getting to stars that I think are in good spots to get are questionable and then get ruled in way after lock just because I know they're going to be super low owned. So that's why I pivoted to get Embiid into my lineup. Yeah, I think he's the guy I would look to for sure, Joel Embiid. Everyone else, I don't think on this 10-game slate, I'm just going to stay away from everyone else based on Philly. On the Charlotte side, so a couple pieces of news we have to go over. PJ Washington's out, and Terry Rozier is questionable. If Terry Rozier is out, then I like LaMelo Ball at 7K. Got a little bit unlucky with some foul trouble there that last game, but I wouldn't mind going right back to the wall with him. Not really the best matchup, but he's a guy who can stuff the stat sheet. Should play mid-30s minutes, maybe even more, like maybe even high 30s minutes if Rozier's out. So LaMelo's a guy I do like. I'll probably stay away from Hayward. No thank you on Graham. Cody Zeller's a guy I bet on basically the last 4 or 5 slates. He continues to get it done, continues to stuff the stat sheet. Now, I kind of have a rule of like I really don't like playing centers against Joel Embiid because the foul trouble concerns. There's been 1 or 2 games where he's gotten in some foul trouble, so it's like, and the price is slowly coming up. I still think he's in play, but I'm worried. I'm worried with him going up against Joel Embiid. Now there is no PJ Washington. He was playing pretty decent minutes, somewhere around 25 to 30ish a game. Those minutes have to go somewhere. Curious to see what they do. They might move Miles Bridges in the starting lineup. If they do, he would be a viable value play. Malik Monk went absolutely off that last game. He went for 36 real-life points. Got to be careful here. Normally a guy that won't do a ton of the peripheral stats, and he had a really good shooting night. But I still think like if Terry Rozier is out, he probably comes on the bench, and I would say at least plays 20-ish minutes. So yeah, he would be in play for value. And then that's probably it for me on the Charlotte side. Moving on to the Pacers and the Bucks. So Sabonis, again, he was one of the optimal plays I mentioned. Now, again, with my lineup, I didn't get to him because I went a little bit contrarian with Damian Lillard. But yeah, Sabonis went off. Even though, again, I didn't play him, I was really happy about that just because I'm a huge Domantas Sabonis fan. And the price went down to 8.3K. So I think he finished with close to 60 fancy points tonight, and now he's priced at 8.3. I think he's a really good play. I do. I think he is about $1,000 too cheap. So I do like Sabonis. Matchup against Milwaukee. Will he be on Giannis at times? Maybe a little bit. It's like maybe a little bit of foul trouble concerns. I'm curious to see what they do with like defensively. But yeah, Sabonis is a guy that I do like. I think he's underpriced. Malcolm Brogdon in a revenge game narrative, if you're into that, I think he's fine as well. He's gone for 40 plus in the last 4 games. So Sabonis and Brogdon I think are solid options. Miles Turner had a nice 5-block game tonight. He kind of needs one of those games to have the really big upside. So 6-7, just kind of a secondary play. And then, the secondary options in the Pacers, I just don't think we have to go there in the slate with like Justin Holiday, McConnell, McDermott. Probably not going to do it. Jeremy Lamb's price now up to 5.7. Don't love that price. So it's really Sabonis and Brogdon for me. On the Milwaukee side, so Giannis entered to combo at 11K. He was pretty chalky the last slate. Obviously, the game blew out. If the game stays close, he should play, over 35 minutes. So, yeah, he's in play for sure at the top. Middleton, Drew, secondary plays for me. Bobby Portis got extended that last game because of the blowout, right? So, if you think this game does not stay close, you can look to Bobby Portis. Other than that, though, I think he plays somewhere around like 15 to 20 minutes and at 5K. Don't really like that. Moving on to Dallas and Atlanta. Luka Doncic and Kristaps Porzingis, I kind of like at the top. I don't know if they're going to be very popular. Luka's gone, 4 or 5 straight games below 50 fantasy points, 4 straight games below 50 fantasy points, but this could be the one where he finally breaks out and goes for a huge game against this Atlanta Hawks defense that plays, is not a good defensive team. So I do like Luka at the top. I also mentioned Porzingis too for GPPs. He's been up and down. A couple games he's gotten some foul trouble, but like he's got 50 plus fantasy point upside and he's at 7.5. So Porzingis and Luka are the guys I'm looking to there at the top. Josh Richardson mentioned really liking him for value that last slate at I think he was 3% owned, went for 40 fantasy points. He had a good shooting game. 4.5, I think he's in play because of the minutes, right? He's played 35 and 37 minutes. I expect mid-30s minutes in a close game. It is a good matchup. So, yeah, Jay Rich is viable. You can make the argument for DFS, too, who will play big minutes as well. And pretty low usage guy, but at least we know the minutes will be there. So, yeah, Jay Rich, DFS, I think are viable value plays. On the Atlanta side, it's Trae Young for me once again for GPPs. I continue to mention him as a good GPP play every slate. He usually goes low on. He's gone for, 50 plus in, I think 8 straight games. Oh, sure, the matchup's not the best against Dallas. So, no, he's not a cash game play, but I do like Trae, again, for GPPs. Capella, a little bit overpriced. I'll pass on Collins. The wings, even with DeAndre Hunter out, I don't think I want to get to anyone. So, moving on to New York, Chicago. Well, we just saw this game a couple days ago. The 2 guys I mentioned on the New York side were the 3 guys were Randall, Quickly, and Noel. And then the Chicago side, it was Thad Young. And that's who I like, again. So, mentioned Julius Randle would be low-owned, 39 minutes, 50 fantasy points. It's a really good matchup. I like him again. Emmanuel Quickly, again, viable for GPPs. Now, can you go there in cash games? I don't know if I trust it yet, but the minutes are trending up. 23, 25, 27, 30. And like I said, this guy is an aggressive player when he's out there. It's a good matchup. I am fine taking a shot at him at GPPs. I am. Now, sure, he's had a couple 4 games, so it's Yeah, I know that's in the realm of possibilities, but the upside is really high with him at 5'5", and I like the matchup. So Quickly is the guy I'm looking to. And then finally, Nerlens Noel. He actually played 28 minutes that last game, had 5 blocks. We're probably not going to get that again, but like minutes are trending up for Nerlens Noel. I think normally we probably get around 20 minutes, but if we get over that, I think he's someone you could look to as a value play below 4K. And on the Chicago side, there's really one guy again, and it's Thad Young, right? He was the guy I liked last slate, man. He's the guy I like again. With no Wendell Carter Jr., Thad Young is going to come off the bench and play about 30 minutes. He can stuff the stat sheet. Has almost gone for a triple-double in every single game. And I love targeting guys like this that fill up the stat sheet, don't have to score to get you there, can do it in other ways. And when they are having a decent shooting game, can go for a big fantasy point game. So Thad Young is a guy I like at his price point. Gafford actually played a little bit more. Last game he played 22 minutes. Now, again, the minutes have been up and down on him, so it's like hard to trust that, and that's probably it. Like Levine's been their best player. It's not been close, but like New York plays slower, so like I don't really want to pay up for someone in this game. Like if I'm using someone, it's someone in the mid-range and being Thad Young. Kobe White is at 6'1". How many minutes? Well, he has played 34 and 37 minutes. I guess you can consider him. It's just there's been a few games where he struggled and it kind of, pulled him early. That's the one issue. Clippers and the Cavs. So this game obviously has some blowout risk. Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, I think are viable spend ups. Again, I am a little bit concerned this game is not so competitive. Reggie Jackson's been starting, been playing mid-20s minutes. I think he's a decent play. That's probably it. And there's not a ton really that stands out for me on the Clipper side. On the Cavs side, it depends on injury news. So we're waiting on Andre Drummond's status. He is currently questionable. If Andre Drummond plays, I like him for GPPs. If Andre Drummond misses, Jared Allen becomes a really solid play at 6'5". Now, Allen went for 23, 18, and 5 blocks. We're not going to get that type of performance again, but like he should play over 30 minutes if Drummond is out or around that. And like 6'5" would be a little bit underpriced. I would like Jared Allen a good amount if Drummond is out. Sexton and Garland, you can go there. They've been kind of inconsistent up and down. We've seen some opposite games from Sexton, but like on this slate, I don't know if I want to take a risk on it. Now, there's no Larry Nance, so a guy I used last slate was Taurean Prince, and it actually ended up working out for me. Now, he didn't shoot the ball great, 2 of 10, and still put up 30 fantasy points. He's a guy that can stuff the stat sheet. If he starts again, I think we probably get 25 to 30 minutes, and he would be an okay play at that price point. And then JaVale McGee, if Drummond is out, he only played 13 minutes. I think it was just because Jared Allen was playing phenomenal. I think normally if Drummond is out, we probably get around 17 minutes from McGee, which, yeah, it makes him a viable punt play. And we've seen some pretty big games from McGee in like limited time, like 15 minutes, 26 fantasy points, right? So like he's a decent point per minute guy. You could use him for value. Washington and Miami. So it is a back-to-back. I'm guessing Westbrook is out for this game. I'm not like 100%, but I'm guessing they rest him, which makes Brad Beal a good tournament play. Now, if Westbrook is out, obviously that increases the chance of a blowout. This is not really the best matchup. So I don't know if I can trust Beal in cash games, but if you're someone using like a Miami player on the opposite side, like you're going to Jimmy or you're going to Bam Adebayo, well, the only way they get there is if the game stays close. I think the only way the game stays close is if Brad Beal has a massive game. So if you're using Jimmy or Bam, I would run it back with Beal. Beal, again, good tournament play. As far as who would start for Westbrook, I'm not sure because they kind of like bringing Ish Smith off the bench, and there's no Raul Neto. So, like, do they start Cassius Winston? I don't really know who else they could start at point guard. We'll see. We'll see what they do. If Ish Smith starts, obviously, like I think he'd be a pretty solid play at 4.8. So, like, we'll have to keep an eye on that and who ends up starting a point guard if Russell Westbrook is, in fact, ruled out. On the Miami side, honestly, I know it's a good matchup, but like they're getting pretty healthy. Hero and Dragic are both probable. Expect them to go. Jimmy and Bam are a little bit priced up, but it is a good matchup. So like I said, if you're playing Jimmy Butler on the slate, I think I would run it back with Brad Beal, or the same thing with Bam Adebayo. I will mention Andre Iguodala for value. He has been playing more minutes recently. Last 2 games, 26 and 27 minutes. So like if we're going to get mid-20s minutes from Iguodala below 4K, I think he's a decent value play. All right, last 4 games here, Houston and OKC. This game intrigues me. So, John Wall out, SGA out on the other side. Christian Wood at 8.6. I think he's a decent tournament play, but it's like we're only going to get about like 30 to 32 minutes from him. Unless like Boogie gets ejected or something. So it's like the minutes are kind of capped for him at the moment, which makes him, I think, more of a tournament play. Now, Victor Oladipo with no John Wall intrigues me if they start him at point guard. We'll see. All right, only has played 25 minutes in back-to-back games. Both those games are blowouts, but like he wasn't on pace for huge minutes where he played 37 the previous game. So like, how many minutes are we getting out of Oladipo? But it is a revenge game if you're into that. It's a good matchup. So like, if they start Oladipo at the point, I think he makes for a decent spend up. And Eric Gordon with no John Wall out, I think if he starts, probably plays around 30 minutes and would be a decent play at that price. Again, kind of rely on the scoring, so it does have a somewhat low floor if he's not hitting his shots. You know, the fringe like guys like Jay Sean Tate, Danuel House are a little bit more viable. No John Wall. Tate has been playing about, low 20s minutes. And then Danuel House has played 28 and 26 minutes last couple games. I think they're both like okay value plays. On the OKC side, so this is really interesting. I'm really curious to see what Oklahoma City does with the starting lineup with no SGA. And SGA being out of their lineup, he is such a high usage guy. So I do like this Oklahoma City team if they can keep it close. Al Horford is the first guy I'll mention at 6K. I don't know if he's going to be super popular, but we're finally seeing the upside I thought we would from Al Horford. 49, 37 in a blowout, 31 in a blowout, right? So it's like he's putting up some bigger scores. He's stuffing the stat sheet. It is a really good matchup against Wood and Boogie. I do like Horford here at 6K. If you think the Thunder keep this game competitive, I think you're going to want to look to a guy like Al Horford. Darius Bazley at 5'2". He'll have to do more offensively. I think, he's been a little up and down, but I do like him for GPPs. Basically, every single the main guys I think are in play with no SGA. So Hamidou Diallo, I'm not sure what they do with the starting lineup. They might start him at the 2. I think they're going to start Maledon at the 1 and Diallo at the 2. That would be my guess. We'll see. If they don't start Diallo, for some reason, like the coach just only wants to play him like 15 to 20-ish minutes. He like rarely ever sees more minutes. So if he doesn't start, I don't know if I would get to him. Or he would be riskier. If he does start, I would like him a lot for value because he's a good point per minute guy. Lou Dort at 4.4. He was chalk. I warned you guys about Lou Dort chalk. I warned you. Don't say I didn't. When I found out that last slate that Lou Dort was going to be the most popular play in the slate, I was just like, what? Why? And, well, he was the chalk. What happened? 12 fantasy points. So, can you play Lou Dort here with no SGA? Yes. I think he is a little bit of a riskier option because if he's not hitting his shots, we've seen a somewhat low floor from him. So I think he's a fine play. Maledon, I'm guessing he will start at the point guard. I'm guessing we get about 30 minutes, maybe a little bit more from him. I think he's a good value play in a good matchup. And then, curious, who else? I don't know. For some reason, I have a gut feeling that they're going to still bring Diallo off the bench, but I don't know who they're going to bring in the starting lineup then. It's going to be it'll be Maledon, Bazley, Horford, and Dort. And then who else are they going to start? What other guard do they really have they can use? Ty Jerome, I saw they sent to the G League. Do they move Justin Jackson or Darius Miller into the starting lineup? I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do here, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. But yeah, really the guys I have interest in are Horford at the top. I think Bazley is a good GPP play. Diallo, especially if he starts. Dort, I think, is solid, and then Maledon, and then maybe one of those fringe guys if they move one of those guys into the starting lineup. All right, Minnesota and San Antonio. So still, is Cat already ruled out? Ruled out for Wednesdays? Yes, he's already ruled out. Okay. Cat ruled out. Naz Reid is probable. He came off the bench though. I'm off the bigs with Naz Reid back. I don't want to go to the bigs now. D'Lo below 7K in this matchup. I think he's viable. He shot the ball 18 and 19 times last couple games. We're not going to get huge minutes because we have not been getting big minutes from him, but I expect around 30. I think he's a fine tournament play. I do. I think there is some upside here at D'Lo. Same with Malik Beasley. Right now, the minutes are just not really high in any of these guys, but I'm expecting around 30 for both of them. You could take a shot on Anthony Edwards for GPPs. He's also going to be getting about 30 minutes. All three of those main Minnesota guys I think are viable for tournaments. And the bigs with Naz Reid back, I'm off. Hernan Gomez might be back too, so it's I'm not touching anyone else in this team besides those main three guys. And all right, back to the Spurs. You guys ready to get popped again? I know I am because, man, no LaMarcus Aldridge in this matchup against Minnesota. I like a lot of the Spurs again, which is a really scary feeling. It worked out for me 2 slates ago, or was it 3 slates ago? 2 slates ago was when I got popped. Last slate, I actually didn't I pivoted off DeRozan and that game blew out. DeMar DeRozan at 6'9", so he was on pace for mid-30s minutes. If that game stayed competitive, which I think we're what we normally get for DeMar DeRozan. He can stuff the stat sheet. Like I said, I love the matchup, so really like DeMar DeRozan at 6.9K. And I really like DeJounte Murray too. He kind of had a off game, but was also probably on pace for around 30 minutes. So Murray, DeMar DeRozan, I like them both at their respective prices. I think you can go to Keldon Johnson for GPPs. Guy who's been a little bit more up and down, but hey, the upside, we've seen it from him, right? And when he's getting it going, he's gone for 40 plus. So the top 3 guys for the Spurs, I think, all look pretty solid. And with no LaMarcus Aldridge, I'm guessing Jakob Poeltl starts. If Jakob Poeltl does start, I think we probably get mid to high 20s minutes from him, which would make him a good value play. Now, my one concern is last time LMAO was out, I want to say 2 or 3 weeks ago, Poeltl would start and he only played 20-ish minutes. So there is some concern. Maybe he gets capped what he's been playing off the bench, but I'm guessing if he starts, those minutes would go up, but you never know with Popovich. Or he could do something weird. We've seen some crazy things. He might move Trey Lyles into the starting lineup. I would not be completely shocked about that. So got to keep an eye on that. Again, if Poeltl starts, I would like him. With Derek White back, kind of just takes Mills and Lonnie Walker out of play for me. Derek White himself has been playing about 20 minutes. I don't love that. Rudy Gay, I could see them going a little bit more small with him. So maybe you can take a shot at him at 4K, but again, hard to really trust the minutes. And that's probably it for me on the Spurs side. 2 games left. So Chris Paul had a massive game, even with Devin Booker back, but I'm going to pump the brakes a bit. Price is up. New Orleans does play a little bit slower. I think he's fine, but I don't think I'm going to chase Chris Paul. Booker at 8K is fine. I think the guy that I do like the best is actually DeAndre Ayton, especially if Steven Adams is out. Steven Adams is actually a decent defender, but if he's out, DeAndre Ayton will be matched up against Jackson Hayes and Guillermo Hernan-Gomez. He should be able to have his way. So would like DeAndre Ayton if Steven Adams is out. Wings, don't want to go there on the slate. On the Pelican side, Ingram, Zion, secondary plays for me. Bledsoe and Lonzo look a little bit better. I think I would give the edge to Lonzo. Probably plays mid-30s minutes in a close game. I think he's still viable there at 5'7". Steven Adams will have to monitor that news. If he's out, it will be Jackson Hayes and Willie Hernan-Gomez. Now, Jackson Hayes started but got in severe foul trouble, picked up 4 fouls in 11 minutes. So it was actually Willie Hernan-Gomez that played more, and he's a good point per minute guy. He played 29 minutes, went for 32 fantasy points. So if Steven Adams is out, you could look to both those centers. I think both would get decent minutes. I think normally we probably get maybe more of an even split, so maybe around 20 minutes from Hayes and 20 minutes from Hernan-Gomez. Both those guys would be viable value plays. Guys like NAW and Josh Hart. NAW only played 18 minutes the last game, so hard to feel confident about that. Josh Hart played 32. The minutes have just been up and down on him. 25, 19, 32. Don't know what to make of it. I think he's definitely a good tournament play because if he does get the higher end of the minutes, he could have a really nice game. And last game here, Boston and Sacramento. So you guys know I do like targeting the Sacramento team. So Tatum and Brown think decent options at the top. Probably would give edge to Tatum if I had to pick, but both look good in a good matchup. Kemba at 6'5". I'm curious to see if they rest him in a back-to-back. They kind of been taking it easy on his minutes. So we'll see. If they rest him, and I believe Marcus Smart's out for a couple weeks. If they rest Kemba and Smart is out, you could look to Jeff Teague for value if he starts at point guard. So that's only if Kemba Walker's out. As far as the bigs with Tice, Thompson, and Robert Williams, curious to see what they do with the starting lineup. Tonight they actually started Thompson and Tice together, which kind of boosts the minutes for Thompson, and then actually boosts the minutes for Robert Williams too. So these value centers with Thompson and Robert Williams, I actually think are viable value plays if they start 2 bigs again. You can even look to Tice too at 4-5. All the bigs look decent if they do start a 2-big lineup. And lastly, De'Aaron Fox. So I was debating last slate with him or SGA. I went SGA, and obviously that went wrong. Fox is always in play for tournaments because of the minutes. He's just going to play big minutes. He can stuff the stat sheet. I'm a huge De'Aaron Fox fan, so I'm fine with him for GPPs. No thank you on Hield. No thank you on Holmes or Barnes. I'll pass him Bagley. Halliburton did play more minutes, or he did play 32 minutes, but that was because Bagley got ejected. He only played 10 in the first half, which was a little bit worrisome, so I'll probably pass on him on this slate. Whiteside at 3.6 only played 14 minutes, was in some foul trouble. I think normally you get about 15 to 20. He's definitely a viable GPP play. And yeah, that's really it for the team-by-team breakdown, guys. I think that's going to do it for the video as well. So if you have been enjoying the content so far, I would really appreciate if you leave a like button on the video, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and hit the notification bell so you don't upload videos live. Again, as always, I will be doing a live stream before lock on my YouTube channel to go over everything, answer all you guys' questions. So yeah, good luck, or have a good night, guys, and I will see you guys all tomorrow in the live stream.